Well, there's one thing that Sarah isn't lacking, and that's energy. But I am worried about her, because if she goes on the way that she is, she's going to burn herself out. And if you burn yourself out, you're not going to be effective. She's got the strategies. I think she's got the motivation. But I can't wait to get back to see if she really implements the things we've talked about.
All of the things that she said are absolutely fantastic ideas, and I'm looking forward to putting them into practice. I'll invest in a new watch so that I can use the stop and alarm facilities, so I'll be able to work more effectively. And I'm looking forward to creating some time just for me so I can leave work. Fingers crossed it works.
Now, you might remember from the last series of Ease the Load, we visited Jackie Weeble. Now, Jackie's the assistant head at Pictor Primary School near Manchester. Jackie was absolutely run off her feet. She didn't even have time to walk the dog. Well, let's jog your memory.
Assistant head Jackie had huge problems with her organisation and administration skills, which prompted her to ask the Ease the Load team,
how can I find time to walk my dog?
Gladina spent a day in school with Jackie to observe and advise her on how to better balance her teaching and managerial roles.
So, Jackie, you know, I've been watching you, and there's a few things I think that we could talk about. You know, you're a tremendous teacher. I've seen you with the kids. However, your administration is a nightmare.
Gladina advised Jackie to break things down into smaller units, to use her filofax as a secretary, and to follow an ABC model to prioritise tasks.
I think the tips that Gladina has given me, she was very perceptive. She really got to the heart of things, and she didn't let you carry on thinking about things in the same way. So I found them really useful, and I think I'll carry on. They're seeping into the rest of my life as well, and making me feel more organised and less stressed.
Well, it's a year on, and here I am in Longford Park in Manchester to see how Jackie's getting on. Well, blow me, there she is with Bea the dog. Hi, Jackie. How are you?
Very well, thank you.
And how's the little one?
Oh, she's having a lovely walk.
Oh, is she? It's really nice to see you.
And you.
So tell me, how's it been this year? What's been working for you?
Well, I'm a lot more relaxed about getting things done. I'm still using the systems, but I think it's more about a kind of mental attitude that you can deal with it, you will deal with it, as long as you prioritise. So that, I think that for me, that's been the key thing, is that making time to look at the stuff I've got to do, rather than just letting it all pile up and thinking, right, what have I got to do first, what can I leave? You fall into bad habits all the time. I mean, I have to say, over the year, I've definitely thought, oh no, I must work really hard, I must do all this. Before you know it, you've slipped into a little, you know, bringing all your bags home and thinking, and then I thought, no, I'll sort them out. I'll sort the stuff out into A, B and C. I have to confess, there's some stuff in my C that I haven't done. I think. For a year, but obviously it wasn't that important, was it? So I do remember you saying one of our discussions that I had to learn to be a manager, and I couldn't expect to just be able to do that, and I've used that as an excuse all year. I am only still learning, I keep saying. So, and trying not to be perfect, you know, trying not to be the ideal manager, you know, because they've got to know I've only got a certain amount of time to do stuff in. So but yeah, I feel more relaxed, definitely.
So it sounds like that you've kind of taken a number of things from our work together. The first is the structure of the ABC. The second is recognising that C's sometimes never get done and the world does not disintegrate. And number three, it sounds like you've grown in confidence and you've learnt something, like there is no such thing as a perfect solution.
Yeah, you're right, that old perfectionist streak where, you know, you should be magically wonderful at everything, and actually part of it is saying, no, I'm sorry, I can't get that done at that time, and I'll have to do this at this time, and you know. But it's things like people talking to you in the corridor, stuff like that, asking you to do stuff, or thinking, oh, I must do that while you're in the staff room, and of course you don't. Because it's not written down, it doesn't fit in the system.
Well, if we were to look at those two, for example, if people are coming up to you in the staff room or whatever, then why are you taking all the responsibility for remembering? You see, what's wrong with that? Or pop a note on my desk.
Yeah.
Oh, come and get me at 5.
Yeah.
Or send me an email just to remind me, because, you know,
Yeah.
that kind of thing. So that
Yeah.
what you're doing is you're not just kind of like having to then carry what could be, you know, 5 conversations and then rush off to a classroom, because
Yeah.
I think with the best will in the world, people will forget.
Yeah.
And I think the telephone calls, again, are about, well, are they always telephone calls that you need to be answering?
That's the point. Yeah.
Or do you need to be delegating them into the right to the right person?
And I suppose you can prioritise telephone calls as well, can't you? Are they a B or C? That's terrible.
It is, but it is exactly about that. And it's not being unkind to people, it's being realistic.
Yeah.
So I'm not suggesting that you treat people the way you might do some of your C tasks.
Yes.
Speak to them for a year. But I do think you have more leeway. You know, there comes a level over which you, again, really have to apply structure.
Yeah, definitely. I'll look back at that one.
Well, I'm really delighted that Jackie's managed to find a work-life balance that works for her. Do you know something? I think Sarah could learn a lot from Jackie. Well, actually, talking about Sarah...
Morning. Today's Monday. Claudina left last week with a list of many things for me to do. One of the first ones was to buy a watch, which I did over the weekend, and here it is. A bit more complicated than I thought, not a normal bog standard stopwatch, so I'm off now to go and learn how to work it. I'll report back soon. Today is Thursday and I've had a few days of learning how to use my new watch, getting to grips with it slowly. But I found over the last few days that I've got through an hour and then simply not really knowing what I'm doing next. So Claudina felt that I should be recording on a daily planner what I actually anticipate to do within the day, so I feel a bit more successful about things. So I've done just that, and I've recorded the times of the day that I have available, and I'm simply going to record what I hope to achieve within that time. I've just got back from a relatively effective day at work, and I managed to leave at about 4:30, which is half an hour before my target time of 5 o'clock. And I've come home and I'm just getting ready to go for a quick run around the block in the hope of improving my fitness. So all in all, a really good day. Today's Friday and it's the end to quite a productive week really. I've begun to use my stopwatch much more effectively, managing my time, particularly the release time that I receive from school, and some of my evenings a lot more effectively than I was doing before Claudina arrived and gave me her good advice. I'm also using the job list and making sure that I am very specific about what I'm to do within the time slots that I give myself. So, fingers crossed for a nice restful weekend, and that next week will be just as effective, if not a bit more.
So it's back to breezy Blackpool for Claudina to see how Sarah's getting on.
Sarah, hi, it's me.
Come on in.
Lovely to see you. Now, Sarah, it's been a while since I've been to see you.
It has.
And I left you with a sort of few ideas about what you could do. So how have they been working out?
Well, the first of your ideas was to use a watch, and I now use the watch without fail every day, and that has been the best thing for me really. It's allowed me to really restrict what I do, and when the beep goes then I stop. And also the fact that you said you can say enough's enough, and I have started to do that too, so it's been really effective.
So it sounds like those two particularly have been really, really helpful for you.
They have. It's also allowed me to develop my home life now. I do come home at a reasonable time, definitely 2 days a week, but also it's meant that I've been able to spend time with mum and dad and my partner too, so it's been great.
So I'm just wondering, are there any sort of challenges left, or has that kind of sorted it for you?
Overall it has sorted it. I still do find that I want to do more and more. I'm still struggling with that. I can let go, and I can say enough's enough, but I really do think that's a time thing. You also asked me and suggested that I create a planner and plan out my time. So I think that my next step really is to put in some more free time within that and sort of plan out rather than just saying, okay, this is the time I've got available and this is what I'll work to.
Absolutely, and I'm really glad to hear you say that, actually, Sarah, because I think that is definitely the next thing to do, which is when you get your next week, so to speak, before you do anything, actually book out the free time first and then put everything else in round it.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
And it also sounds as if you're sort of still struggling a little bit with that tendency that you've got to kind of, you know, just want to keep running at things.
Yes.
And so now you're kind of learning how to pace yourself, so you're still in that process.
Definitely still in that process. I mean, there is still a frustration that, say I block an hour's time to mark, and there is still a frustration when the buzzer goes and I know I've got 10 or 11 books still left. That's irritating for me. And I'm sure over time that irritation will stop. But for me to pick those books up and put them away and think I will do them at some other time, or it's not now, I do, you're right, I do still struggle with time.
But well done, because I mean the thing is, you know, it's a bit of an addiction. It's like, I want to finish it, I want to finish it. Yeah. But actually, yes, give it a bit more time and you'll get to the point where, you know, because after all, it's all getting done.
It is, yes. I think the other thing as well is that I am getting much more used to what an hour is. So within that hour, I will mark more quickly. I'll be more effective with the time. And quite often, it's weird, I'll sort of look at my watch and there's about a minute to go. So my body is starting to know, you know, I've got this much time. I'm sort of getting into it that way, so.
Oh, well, is there anything else that, you know, you'd like from me before perhaps I sort of wend my way?
I don't think so. I'd like to say thank you for what you've done. I really do feel that you've had a major impact on my life, and changed it for the better, because I would have, as you suggested, have continued to work in that fashion, would have continued to be exhausted at the end of a term, and potentially relationships could have broken down. So I really feel that I've now got quality time back with my family, which is what it's all about. So I'll be knocking on your door again when I ever get married and have children and settle down properly, because I'll need to juggle even more by then.
Oh, anytime. You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
Well, I'm really, really delighted with Sarah. What can I say? I mean, she's really put the effort in. And the one big thing that Sarah's learnt is no work-life balance, no life.
I feel that I've achieved what I set out to achieve, which is make a change in my life that's going to impact the rest of my life. And thanks to Gladina, I've managed to do that. I've managed to make time for my hobbies. I went canoeing and it was fabulous. I felt that I could go and relax and enjoy my time rather than having to worry that I've got work to do.
And the main changes we've seen in Sarah is that we see her far more now. In the past, she used to walk in the back door occasionally at home and she would say, I'm not stopping, I'm too busy, can't stay for tea. But now things are very different. I think she's got a timetable sorted and she's got far more time for us. Sarah does seem happier since she started the programme. You've only got to look at her face. Her smile is back, and other people that she knows have said exactly the same. So yeah, she is much, much happier.